Um, okay, let's do the Jordan Avant topic, and then we can decide from there. Okay. So Jordan Avant left a $2 super thanks. Thank you very much. And if anyone else wants us to do a topic, then feel free to leave a super thanks, and we'll probably do yours next. Even Jordan Avant if he wants to do more. So he says thanks. Well, thank you, Jordan Avant. He probably gets so annoyed that I say his last name every time I say his name, so shout out Jordan. I wonder when more people will be on Boruto's side in Chapter 30 and Chapter 40. Pray emoji. Boy, I would love to know about that. Maybe you guys could make another video. This is in reference to another video, another being in reference to the first video we did on Boruto Chapter 30 and 40. Link in the description below. It's like a part 2 if you want to consider it that way. Make another video about how many people will be on Boruto's side in the future. Video! That would be awesome! Thumbs up, thumbs up. Jordan's been asking this one for quite a long time now. Quite a lot, so I'm glad that we can answer Jordan's question. So the first time, just to summarize the video, we said that by chapter 30 and 40, where will the plot be? We said it's going to be past the second arc that I think, are now going into. At the time, we thought it was going to be some Sand Village arc, but I don't know what we're doing now. Either way, I still think it's going to be around the start of the third arc is when we're around here. So basically, by the end of what we are currently looking at, which we believe to be a second arc of Two Blue Vortex, how many people... Basically, the question here is how many people will be on Boruto's side by the end of this arc. So I guess the good starting point is how many people are on Boruto's side currently, and how many of those people would we say are like wavering to might not actually be on Boruto's side, even if we think they are. Like Shikamaru, if he betrays Boruto within the next like 3 chapters, I'm not going to say he's actually on his side right now. He just thinks he is, or we just think he is.
I'm counting Shikamaru.
Okay.
I just on his side.
Well, I didn't want to say Ino, because I feel like Ino is the obvious not actually on his side, but maybe kind of, but not actually now.
Yeah, that's been confirmed.
Yeah, but like before chapter, I think 14, the interrogation chapter, we'd be like, oh yeah, Ino's on his side, but actually she wasn't. So I feel like that's the example here.
Shikamaru's chapter 14 solidifies it pretty hard. So
that's right.
Obviously starting in Samurai.
Yep.
Shikamaru as well. Mitsuki is enough that I'm gonna count him.
I agree.
At the very least, by chapter 30 and 40, I think that the rest is gonna be taken care of.
So I think Ada...
I am willing to count Kawaki as temporarily on his side.
That's like, yeah, like War Arc, Sasuke, and Naruto had to fight together.
So I'm gonna count it.
Sure.
Because, you know.
At least he's fighting on his side. Ada. He's not on his side, though.
Yeah, but like it's a temporary alliance, so I'm gonna count it. Honestly, Koji.
Yeah,
I'm gonna count 6. Ada and Damon as well, because
8?
They're neutral /
I agree.
Pro Boruto.
Yeah, I think before recently they were neutral / against, but now they're more like neutral / pro.
Yeah, fucking Damon wants Kawaki to get caught, so like if anything, Damon's pro Boruto more than Ada.
No, I think Damon is more pro Boruto than Kawaki, but I think he's anti both of them, if I'm being honest.
I think he wants to fight Boruto when he gets strong. I think he's like looking, he's like, I want Boruto to get strong so I can fight him.
Yeah. Either way, that's 8 so far. Did you have any more?
Did you count Koji?
Yes.
Can I give you a goofy one?
Okay.
Jura.
I was thinking of Shinju as well, yeah.
I mean, all I'm saying, bro, Jura let him live. He had no reason to do so. I'm counting him.
We can subconsciously count Jura. I feel like that's fair. So we'll just say that's 9 currently. So, okay, if we're going with 9 currently, so another aspect we got to establish before thinking about who might be on his side, is, of these 9, do you think they will stay on Boruto's side by chapter 34? Or do you think some of them might actually go against Boruto by that point, by the end of this arc? For example, I can imagine maybe Ada and Damon, they do talk to Boruto, and then they like double down on Kawaki's side and like some betrayal plot twist kind of thing by the end of this arc. Just as an example.
That could happen, but I don't think Kawaki's gonna. He could break his truce early, but I feel like his truce should last a little while because the point is to get rid of the Shinju first. I really don't think this. I don't think Jura at least is gonna be dead by chapter 30.
Yeah.
So I feel like, I mean, yeah, Kawaki can betray him early, but I feel like a better way to do it is it's like you're at chapter 16. Kawaki's like, that might be too far, but you get the point. Kawaki's like, Boruto, we still haven't beaten Jura. I'm done. You've been getting taken over by Momoshiki every other day. I'm killing you. That could make sense, but to do it too early, I feel like Boruto would need to lose control, preferably twice. Once, I'm like, he did say the Shinju, but the second time, I'd be like, all right, Boruto, you've had 2 chances, you're done. So I would like that, and I don't think Momoshiki is gonna have taken over twice by chapter 30, if he does it at all, apparently. So I feel like Kawaki would stay on their side, so I don't think Ada and Damon would switch up by then for the same reason.
Yeah, Kawaki for sure is
I
going to
don't
be on
think
his side
Mitsuki's
still,
gonna switch up either. I feel like
technically.
Mitsuki's just there.
Yeah, Mitsuki for sure is going to be there.
Jura, I
Shikamaru
guess,
probably as
yeah,
well.
he'll switch up. He'll probably go anti-Boruto in 5 seconds.
I think Shikamaru is going to like continue fighting against Boruto like publicly, but like not privately.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think he's going to be found out by chapter 30 or 40? Because if he's found out, he might even privately have to go against Boruto.
That's a good one. I think he might, because we didn't really see much in chapter 14, but like Konohama is kind of already suspicious in chapter 14. I think Shikamaru is gonna get found out. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think he can only do so many more of these free Boruto things before he gets caught.
And they can only allude to it for so long before it starts losing its meaning. I feel like this would be the arc to execute it, since they didn't execute it on the first arc, or even up to this point, I should say. Similarly, I think Jura, by the end of this arc, he's going to get an answer to one of his questions. It's not going to be devouring his target or anything. He's not going to get the answer, but he's going to make progress. He's going to evolve. He's going to get some kind of answer that he's been looking for. And
he needs to, yeah. He needs to progress more than just, like, I mean, he can get, even if it's just by observing Ryu or whoever, he just needs to make a step forward however it happens.
yeah, because he progressed through
just
Ino
stay
Shikacho.
in the same spot forever.
Yeah, like he progressed through Ino Shikacho, but he technically lost. Like he gained something valuable, but he didn't like gain it because he narratively lost. So I think in this arc he's going to not only gain something, but he's gonna win. So that's an actual like plus that's just gonna like evolve him further.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's gonna be the chakra fruit. I'm scared that's what this arc's gonna be like, quote unquote, focused around. I don't think Jura himself is gonna specifically be going out of his way to be doing much this arc. If he does, I don't think it's going to be in conflict with the main characters, or I think he's just going to be stomping whoever he comes into contact with.
I feel like he's more going to be in the background. Like, I feel like...
I agree. It's going to be like Orochimaru in the Sasuke retrieval arc.
I'd say... Yeah, so I think there's one of 3 people, I realistically for this arc, I see being the focus, if not all 3. You have Ryu, obviously, Matsuri, who is heavily related to the Samuel situation, and Ryu, and of course, Code. This
agree.
arc could be entirely focused on not Ryu. It could just be pretty much the Code invasion, whatever, the Code searching for Kashin Koji arc.
Well, I don't think that's going to be the whole arc. I think that's going to be like a B or C story in this arc.
That's going to be the B. I agree. That's going to be the B plot. The A plot's going to be like Ryu / maybe Matsuri, probably.
Yeah, keeping
and I think Jura's going to probably be in the background, say with Hidari, probably Mamushi as well. And Jura's just going to, he might do something here, like maybe Code finds the ally and loses. Let's just say Code's going to die. I don't want them to do this, but hypothetically, I could see them doing like a Mahito Kenjaku thing to where Code like they beat Code, then Juro shows up, kills Code, and kills Cody or something. Like I could kind of see that maybe,
Yeah, I think
but the
this is
point
gonna
is he's more in
be.
the background.
I think this arc is gonna be sort of like a way to let the side characters shine by having Code keeping Boruto and Koji out of the A story. Which means, who do you think the
Mm-hmm.
primary antagonist is gonna be for this arc? If not Matsuri, it's gonna be
Ryu,
Ryu. I don't know if
yeah.
they're gonna be both the primary antagonists at the same time. If they're just if they're gonna do another Juri Hidari invasion to where randomly it's Ryu and Matsuri invading. Like I feel like it'd be Ryu and Bug, but I feel like they're gonna save Bug for another time. I don't think they're gonna execute on Bug just
They're
yet.
gonna say Buck because it's too
Yeah,
irrelevant. So
I
and that's
agree.
why I said Matsuri because she was the one who
Hmm.
got Ryu in the first place.
And I think
Also,
that works because we're also
Matsuri's tie-in with Kimi no
focusing.
Shikacho and Konohamaru, where Shikadai has a relation to Gara through his mom and so on and so forth. So that's kind of the way I would go about it.
Yeah, because we've been focusing a lot on Konohamaru, not only a lot at the end of the previous arc, with this change protecting
The
Boruto against
last
Hidari,
chapter.
but also, especially now, in this interrogation and him catching on to
Yeah.
Shikamaru, like we were saying, and that can tie into the fact that we think Shikamaru is going to be found out this arc, and how that can play into it as well, because he's now tied to Konkuro and Tamari. Konkuro tied to Ryu, which is tied to Gaara,
Well,
so that
and
can work with the
actually,
Ryu
a
antagonist.
really good because obviously like we were kind of like thought it was stupid how Conqueror was like, hey, can you give us some help, and then he just hangs up the phone and
Yeah,
whatnot. So I want them to go to the Sand Village, obviously,
yeah,
but one of the things I want to happen is Conqueror never explained this, like, why Gar and Shinki were in Orochimaru's hideout, but what I want is that to get explained, and ideally maybe they figure something out about, maybe they don't directly figure out Kashin Koji, but they get on that path. And of course, Shikamaru's known about Koji in somehow, some shape or form. That's going to intertwine itself with Shikamaru getting exposed. So, like, hypothetically, this is kind of goofy, but let's just say Konohamaru didn't really see the toad on Boruto, but in the back etches of its corners of his mind, he saw it. He didn't really understand. So then maybe they find, maybe the Konkuro talks about the fucking toad in the Orochimaru's Ido, and then Konohamaru sees the toad, and then later they spot the toad in Shikamaru's office. This is goofy, but you get my point. They can put two and two together like that, for example. I want there to be a tie-in to where the Sand Village stuff in Konohamaru leads to Kashin Koji, and that ends up helping expose Shikamaru, if that makes sense. That's what I'd like to see.
well, here's my theory, and I don't know exactly how they're going to go about it. I'm just going to give you like the concept, and I'm not going to pretend like this is narratively peak or anything. It's just what a route I can imagine them going in order to connect the characters with the story here. So, I think because they set up Tamari, I'm going to give them the benefit of the
Mhm.
doubt and assume they're going to execute on that. But what's the point of executing on that if Tamari is going to stay irrelevant, not only as a character, but for the story as well? So I think she needs, if she's going to be brought up this arc, she's going to be used this arc. How so? I think Ino's already on the edge. She's not exposing Shikamaru, but like because of what happened to Ino Gene, she is now wavering to where she's not going to listen to Shikamaru anymore. So I think it could be possible that Tamari, when she finds out, she consoles an Ino, and that gives Ino her conviction, pushes her over the edge, completes her character to now betray, expose Shikamaru based on her experience with Inojin. Now she's seeing what happened to Tamari.
Okay,
I
that
feel
could
like,
work.
yeah, like Shikamaru's downfall in some weird way could be tied to because Gaara was defeated. So whatever narrative thing Shikamaru's gonna do to fail to change, reject change, whatever, he's gonna do some sort of downfall thing, and this is like the beginning of it, which leads to him being exposed later. Just connecting
So,
those characters to the story.
with that in mind, would you say, because I gave a very different approach, would you
Yeah.
say it would be ideal to A, do both at this, which I think might be too much, but do both, B, do mine, or C, do just yours? Both
Well,
might be too much because it's kind of like two completely different things, but it's like hey, why not do both if you can? So it's kind of
At,
tricky.
at this point, I feel like it's turning into a how is Shikamaru gonna get exposed video. But it's weird because I don't know how they would execute on all of them because Kawaki's sus, Kanahamaru is sus, and now we're talking about this
Yeah.
third way of susness. It's like, but they're all completely independent of one another for different varying reasons from different characters. It's like you can't do all of them because they're not. There's no way to intertwine this in some seamless way. It's just gonna be messy and convoluted no
I
matter
mean,
how they do it.
in my defense, the Kawaki one, at least Kawaki's also caught on a Kashin Koji, so that's closer to the Kashin Koji way I thought of. But then it's like, okay, what are you gonna do with Tamari? The only other option for Tamari really is just Tamari goes to the Sand Village. Maybe she spies on Shikamaru talking about it, and then she goes or something. I don't know. I know it's kind of goofy, but like
Then we also have
that's really
Koji's
you really
Toad.
only have two options. Like
Koji's Toad is also hiding, so if that's found, that's another way to expose Shikamaru. So there's just so much going on.
well, that's what I said in mine. It's like
Yeah.
they can find the toad and then also learn something about Koji and the mission to the Sand Village and put two together that way.
And if you
That's
want
what I
to
was
count
hoping
this,
for.
technically the elders are sus of Shikamaru. Not because of anything Shikamaru's doing, but because what Shikamaru isn't doing. He isn't taking up the Hokage monument. Why? Because, oh,
You're
Naruto's out there,
for
but
me.
no, Naruto's dead. So it's sus. Throwing it out there.
I don't know.
Indirect. It's at least indirect. I didn't say it was the craziest one, but yeah, it's there. A little bit. It's also possible that Sarada and Sumire working with Shikamaru could somehow lead to it being exposed on Shikamaru's part. But like that would include Sarada and Sumire making a mistake, messing up. But it also doesn't seem like they are working together, as we saw in this latest chapter. So, like Shikamaru's being safe on that front at least. Or at least that means that when Shikamaru goes down, Sarada and Sumire are still going to be safe, because if Shikamaru goes down, you would imagine that they aren't working together. What happened? Here, I'll hang on. Don't understand any of this.
So can you repeat like that last minute?
I was saying basically that it seems like Sarada and Sumire aren't working with Shikamaru still, and so Shikamaru is not only being safe, but if Sarada and Sumire mess up, that's not going to reflect badly on Shikamaru necessarily, and if Shikamaru gets found out, that means Sarada and Sumire are still safe, because they're not, like, connected, tied together in that kind of way.
Yeah, it was pretty minimal. Like all he said is, "Hey, if Boruto contacts you, let me know." Basically. Yeah. Which is stupid though, given that he has the toad. Why is he even saying that? Just ask the toad.
So this is ridiculous. I'm just gonna say it right now. I don't see how, but it doesn't matter about how. My question is, assuming they just do go my route, so they make Tamari relevant, she finds out about Gaara, don't care how, maybe Konohamaru figures it out and tells her. That makes Konohamaru relevant for Shikamaru's downfall. The point is, Tamari tells Ino, and then Ino reveals Shikamaru's nonsense. Listen. I'm just saying, because now Tamari is relevant and connected to the story. Do you think, I don't care about how, do you think there would be a route here in Avenue to where Tamari, based on all of this, would be on Boruto's side in chapter 30 to 40?
So, I mean, I'm gonna be honest, yes, because I don't want. There's two reasons. I don't want Tamari to just betray Shikamaru. Like, Ino's worked annoyingly, I guess, with the rules, blah blah blah. But like, Tamari don't care about them rules, and their fucking husband. I don't really want to watch them get divorced, unofficially. And I feel like as husband and wife, Tamari would be like the one who loves Shikamaru so much that she would just believe him, unlike Ino here. Like, I feel like they would do the contrast. So I want I want Tamari to support him. I want Tamari to be there for Shikadai. I want Tamari to be like I want her to not be worse than scum, to put it one way.
See, you
You
said
know,
one thing there that I slightly disagree with, and you're gonna completely hate me for saying this, and I don't mean it like this, so just hang on. So you said that it's because Tamari loves Shikamaru so much. Listen. It's not that I disagree with this, but hang on. I don't see the relationship like that. They obviously love each other. They're married, husband and wife. I don't think it's out of love, but more like respect and admiration for the expectations they have of one another. Tamari loves Shikamaru because she expects Shikamaru to be the great man that he's shown himself consistently to be. And whenever Shikamaru isn't like that, Tamari puts him in his place, and they sort of like support each other to where when one falters, the other's like, no, I expect you to be great, so be great, so then they are great. It's like a support structure kind of thing. So then if Shikamaru just goes off the deep end from her expectation, then based on what I've seen from Tamari, I feel like she would just basically just not like she'd be heartbroken, but I feel like she'd just be basically done with Shikamaru. She'd just dump him. Maybe just go
no,
to
I feel
jail.
like, I mean, I agree with what you're saying, but I feel like what I would want them to do is have an argument in like a chapter. They're arguing in the house or whatever. Maybe Shikanai overhears, maybe he doesn't matter. And Shikamaru just like gives like, now look, real quick. I'm not expecting Ikimo to do this. I'm not expecting him to do it well if he does it. But they have an argument, and you just have Shikamaru. He breaks it down. It just maybe he uses logic. Maybe the logic just goes away. He just lets it all out. The most raw emotional response to Tamari, and Tamari just sees that like this is genuine. She just trusts it. That's what I want, right? I want that wholesome husband wife shit there.
That'd
You
be
know, I don't
good.
want any of this. Sakura's just gonna ditch
Yeah.
Sasuke bullshit. People want no. I want them to fucking show what their love's made of here.
Because I
Okay,
feel like
if
that
they're
would
gonna
be
be
the
a couple,
strength
then
Tamari
cash
would
in
be
on it.
looking for. Like, yeah, it might be like pathetic or whatever, but the fact he's doing that, that is him being strong, which is what she's saying. Because again, I think the love is about who they are. And so if Shikamaru becomes someone that Tamari doesn't love, or just someone that she doesn't even recognize anymore, then I can imagine she's just done with Shikamaru, as heartbroken as she'd
But
be.
like,
But I feel like it's
if
all
he's like
throughout the
imagine,
series.
imagine he starts off breaking it down logically, something Tamari knows Shikamaru to do, and then he starts like being emotional. He's well, this sounds
Well,
cringy,
no.
but like
Here's I don't
he
think it would
starts
be
talking about how
going that
Boruto's
way.
just like Naruto or something. He's just like letting out the raw emotions. Like Tamari can just see that
No, I think
that's like
I don't know how you're
Shikamaru.
envisioning it. I'm envisioning it as Shikamaru's found out. Tamari already knows, and she's pissed because he was keeping all these secrets from her, etc., etc. And so I don't think she's going to be giving Shikamaru the benefit of the doubt in order to hear him out open-minded. I think she's going to be like like a disaster storm going after him, like cursing him out, basically.
Okay, I thought the
When
premise
Shikamaru's on
was
defense.
she talks to Ino, and then Ino tells Tamari, and then she goes and confronts Shikamaru personally. So this is before Shikamaru is quote unquote found out by the village. It's like just Ino and Tamari know. That's how I thought
My
you were doing
premise
this.
was that Ino rats out Shikamaru based on what Ino, her character, how she changes from Tamari consoling in her. So it's not like Tamari's like, Ino, tell on my husband, he's it's not like that's not what you're saying, but like it's Ino does it of her own volition based on the conviction she gains from Tamari separately.
So what is Tamari finding out to tell Ino?
That Gara was
To
captured.
confide in
Her
Ino
loved
about.
one was injured and was in danger, be just like Inojin.
Okay, so Tamari is just gonna randomly go up to Ino and be like, yo, Gara's been captured. Did you know that? And she's gonna be like, yeah. Did you know that Shikamaru is actually helping Boruto? It just seems so random for us. It doesn't feel natural.
Well, no, no. Again, it's not that Ino would tell Tamari. It's just that Ino would just tell, like, I guess the elders, and then from there it just spreads like wildfire to where Tamari just finds out in the same way the public
But
finds
like, what
out.
is the connection there? Like that didn't happen because Shikamaru was helping Boruto. If anything, Shikamaru helping Boruto is the reason it wasn't any worse than it was.
My point is that Ino would be seeing Tamari similar to her, so it's like this like a repeated pattern, not just something that happened to her. The point is that the loved ones are being in danger because Ino slash Tamari, how they were, like they're gonna blame themselves for this because they weren't there or whatever because they went this dangerous route that they never should have gone down, and then Ino's just gonna like double down on the rules thing to protect her loved ones and to protect everyone's loved ones because she's now seeing it as a consistent mistake.
I mean, when you frame it like that, it seems tolerable, but like, it seems like such bullshit, bro. Like, like, how stupid is he, Like, I don't want to be reading this story thinking, oh my god, you fucking idiot. You know what I mean?
Well,
Like,
maybe I'm just saying it wrong, but I don't think it's like that at all, considering her son almost died, her only child.
not because of Shikamaru hiding, like, Boruto being there is the reason Himawari and Sarada didn't die.
But she's be thinking
And you know why Boruto was
emotionally.
there? But that just makes no sense, though. It's just like like as I'm saying, I don't want to read this story being like I'm already borderline annoyed with Ino's rules nonsense as it is, but like I don't want them to escalate this to the nth degree where I'm just like, bro, you're so stupid. Like I don't want to read that story and be thinking how stupid is her the whole time if it's not in a comedic way. Like Hidari, at least it's funny.
Well, the
Ino's
rules,
case, it wouldn't be funny.
the rules stuff, I like it because of exactly what I'm saying right now. Because her love of her child is greater than her love of helping Shikamaru. I feel like that's why she did that.
Yeah, that's fine in that context. To just say, I'm busy dealing with Enogene, and she's using the rules as an excuse. That's fine. But that's different from her just telling on Shikamaru, because there's nothing to do with Gar being captured. Like,
Well, it's not
it's just,
because
I don't like
Inogene's
it. I don't like it.
currently injured.
I don't
It's
want it.
because Inogene got injured at all. I feel like this is a permanent change. It's like a
And it has nothing to
realization.
do with Shikamaru breaking rules.
I feel like she can just tie the two together. They'll right away. It's fine. They'll figure it out.
But if she does, I'm gonna be looking at her like, you fucking idiot, bro.
It depends how it's
I don't
written.
want her to do it. I
Isn't
don't
that
want
what
to do
you
it. Maybe
always
she.
say? It depends how it's
I don't
written.
want to do it. It does depend on how it's written. Have you noticed a common trend and how it's been written? I'd rather them go, for example, Gene in the Himawari case. Great depending on how it's written, bad depending on how it's written. But you put Hanabi, fucking doesn't matter how it's written, it's gonna be fine. Worst case, it's just okay, but it's never gonna be bad. I'd rather him just go with Hanabi, the route that he can't mess up. Same with this. I remember just do the one that he can't mess up.
I mean, this is like the best
Without
thing the
testing.
Boruto series has done. The emotional vulnerability of the parent and child thing.
Yeah, but on the other hand, you have Sakura, who doesn't give a flying fuck about her
Listen,
daughter
that's
during
not doing the theme
invasions.
wrong. That's just not doing the theme. It's just not there to be
No,
done
it's doing it
bad.
wrong because Sakura still doesn't care about her daughter. So
Well, she did in Naruto Gaiden.
yeah,
Yeah, and it's some of the
something
best
Ikimoto didn't
stuff the
write.
Boruto series has done. My point is, regardless of if it's done
Yeah,
bad
it's not in
elsewhere, it is
Boruto.
still some of the best. If we're looking at the best, it's some of the best.
I don't want them to do this.
Okay.
Whatever.
Well, we completely got away from the topic. We should probably get back. So how many okay, so who else do we think might change to Boruto's side? Do you think Ino
Konohamaru could maybe,
Shikachou?
but it depends.
Konohamaru?
So
Yeah.
For Konohamaru,
He's
if he's
already on
sussing
the
out
edge.
Shikamaru, then I would say that's a no because
Well,
that's going in the wrong direction.
okay. I feel
But
like if
he
you're
could be on
counting
board.
Kawaki, then you should already be counting Konohamaru. If anything, Konohamaru's more on Boruto's side than Kawaki is, because Kawaki is only physically on Boruto. Kawaki is vehemently against Boruto. I feel like Konohamaru's not only fighting on Boruto's side, I feel like Konohamaru's wavering to kind of be on Boruto's side as well.
I agree, but like if he's sussing out Shikamaru for helping Boruto, then that's kind of in the wrong direction. So it kind of depends on what they do there. So
Mhm.
he's definitely a contender, but not a guaranteed.
Well, I feel like that could be
Um,
like a low point though. It's like he's made every mistake he could. It's the worst point possible. And in that darkest moment, he realized his mistake. And through sussing out and exposing Shikamaru, that's how he can then turn around to in the future trust Boruto by the end of the arc. Redemption
yeah,
almost.
but I mean, I would like to see him be one though. And Chimino Shikacho, I just I'm surprised they're not already on his side. It's probably because they haven't interacted with him at all. So
Yeah.
they just need to interact with him. If they don't, then probably not. But I feel like all they gotta do is fucking talk to this dude for 5 seconds, and they'll be on his side.
I have
Actually, it
two
depends on Boruto's attitude. If he's fucking shitting on them for not training hard, even though he had cheat codes, then maybe not. But
I have two funny ones for you. What about Ayari and
oh, we forgot to
Yodo?
count Himawari earlier.
Well, oh yeah, okay, that makes 10 technically. Um, so Ayari and technically Karama as well, if you want to count that. But Ayari,
Yeah.
also Code is also technically, well, he could be fighting on Boruto's side at some point by chapter 30 40.
I was gonna mention Code could be an interesting one,
Yeah,
depending on how things progress here.
considering the chapter 4 thing that he might have fought on
What
his
would we
side.
count
That's interesting.
Amado? I think Amado's
I don't
pretty
think Amado's
neutral,
gonna
but
be on
then
his
again,
side.
after this chapter, maybe not so much.
Yeah, no, definitely not. I think Amado's in it for the long game. No, he's in it for chapter 300 and 400, not chapter 30 and 40.
Yeah.
um, so assuming we do go a straight up Sand Village arc, and we're just gonna get prominent focus on Ayari and Yodo, as well as with Boruto, they're just gonna interact. Do you think by the end of this arc they're gonna be on or against Boruto's side, or Ayari and Yodo, Shinki's teammates? Because I think
Um,
Shinki would be on Boruto's side, but I don't think Shinki would care
I
much
was
either way.
wondering. I feel like by the end of the arc, they'll just be on his side. Not gonna lie, because I think at first they could be like targeting him because they don't know, but then they'll change their mind.
Okay. I think it could be
I don't feel like they'll be
interesting
hard to convince.
to have one of them on his side and the other against his side for almost like a civil war kind of thing, an inner team strife. But I don't think the Boruto series
Yeah,
would do that.
and I was wondering who would be which. If I had to guess, part of it might depend on what Shikadai's on. The reason why is because
Yeah.
Yodo fought Shikadai. She trusts Shikadai's judgment. She might side with him. But at the same time, Araya fought Sarada. Maybe he'll just trust Sarada. But I
Because
feel like Yodo feels like maybe it's just because he's a girl. She'll be the one to appeal to emotion. I feel like Araya will be the puppet and just agree with the mass and just be like, oh, he's a bad guy. And Yodo will be the one to
I was
be like, no, I
honestly,
think he's a good guy.
I was thinking the same concept for Ino Shikacho. I think it's more interesting if not all three of them become on Boruto's side. If you were to choose one of Ino Shikacho, or two, I guess, to not be on Boruto's side, or one of them to be on Boruto's side, which one would you choose for either case? I already have my answer if you
Chocho
want
will
me to
be
go
the
first.
first to just be on his side.
Chocho would be, you think?
Chocho will be on his side because,
Okay.
for one,
Chocho already was on
she was
Kawaki's side.
very
Thinks he's hot.
exactly. She already thinks she's hot, so there's that. And two, she's very like seemingly she's gonna eat pancakes with Himawari and be like, "Oh, Himawari, you're so right. He's so handsome. He could never be a bad guy." Like Chocho's gonna be on his side. Not gonna take much work. Shikadai Inojine's tricky between those two though. Who would be the one to not be versus be? Because I could see either way. Inojine's relationship with Himawari could make him just believe in
Mhm.
her. It could also be an interesting dynamic to where he doesn't believe in her and that creates conflict. Shikanai could be logical and follow the rules and not be on a side, or he could be logical and see through the deception like Shikamaru. Shikanai has more interactions with Kawaki in the anime, even in the manga, actually. So that could tie into things. It's a tricky one.
That's the route I see it, though. I think Shikadai is going to be on Boruto's side. I think Shikadai felt more.
Yeah.
I think Shikadai felt the most betrayed because I felt like he was the closest to Boruto. But I feel like he's also maybe the easiest to convince, despite that. Or like he might have the most emotional
Yeah,
outburst, but I feel like at the end of the day, he's going to be the most loyal to Boruto because he's going to
I
remind
agree.
him of Boruto. He likes Boruto as a person, and Boruto is Boruto. Well, outside of his rude, cocky, new nature, but besides that, he's gonna remind him of Boruto because nostalgia. They're gonna do that flashbacks, but so I feel like they're gonna be friends regardless. But I also can imagine this is a little bit crazier, but I can imagine considering Ino and Shikamaru's relationship. I can imagine that Shikadai is going to go against Ino in order to support his father. Because I feel like he's not
Yeah.
going to be thinking about the rules. He's going to be like Shikamaru. He's going to be thinking of protecting the king and ninja thinks past deception and rules are scum. All of it. I think
Yeah,
that's more of his
Inochi's gonna be on
free
his
thinking
mom's
idea.
side.
Yeah, as well. I think that could be
I
the route
also
to
don't
do that.
remember if this is true, but I feel like in the anime, at least maybe, Inochi might have been like one of those, because you know how like a lot of times in the anime, like Inochi will just be the guy who brings up the conversation that's relevant at the moment. Who'd be like, "So what do you guys think about Kawaki?" Like he'll just be the one to do it. I feel like there's been times in the anime at least where Inochi's been skeptical of Kawaki more so than the others. Like he'd be the one to say, "I don't know if should we really trust this guy," but I could be wrong though, because I think there also might be a scene to where he's like, "Oh, my dad trusts him," so I don't know.
In fact, I have a route to go for you. I think you might like this. Assuming Ino does turn against Shikamaru, exposes him, I think Ino will still turn back to Boruto's side eventually. I don't think it's necessarily by chapter 30 or 40, but I can
Yeah,
imagine it's before Omnipotence is undone or whatever happens by the end of the series. I can imagine, is one of the ones in particular that turns back on Boruto's side later on. I don't think it's going to be by Shikamaru because I don't think that should be the route they go. I think he's already been trying to do that, so it'd just be the same old, and
maybe
the same
Inochi or
relationship.
Shikadai.
I think, yeah, exactly. I think this is a perfect opportunity to do this. So I think the route they're going to do, and I think this would be beautiful and symbolic, is first of all, if Inojin tells his mom, did I say that right? Yeah. Inojin tells his mom that she's wrong and that Boruto actually is good because he's supporting Himawari or whatever. And like the reason that Ino's doing this first place is because of Inojin. So that's the perfect first of all, the perfect
Yeah,
the doing the heavy work the 90% of the way, but that's not the nail in the coffin. I think the beautiful aspect is during her emotional vulnerability, wavering, sitting on the fence, I think Shikadai then comes in to not yell at her or scream, but to just have an open-minded, free-thinking conversation. This is beautiful because this isn't Shikamaru. This is Shikamaru's not only kid, the next generation, which again is almost Shikamaru's whole point of protecting the king as well. But also Shikamaru, that's her friend's kid, that's father child thing. But then also this is Inojin's friend as well, and then
and
Shikadai
Tamari's kid. If you're gonna bring Tamari into your
as
thing
well.
again,
Yeah, absolutely. That's another aspect completely considering that tie-in as well, the connection. I would love that. And then obviously Shikadai, like Shikamaru, is gonna remind of Shikamaru because he's so smart, free thinking, and in support of Boruto and progressive, blah blah blah, whatever you want to say. I think that would be the beautiful nail in the coffin, like passing of the torch, next generation kind of thing. That could be his
yeah. And then of course, like
purpose.
Inochi talking to Ino is a lot like Sarada with Sasuke in chapter 80.
Yep.
Obvious callback there. And this is kind of a stretch, but I'll mention it anyway. It's kind of, to a significantly less degree, like the what if Itachi told Sasuke about the
Mm,
Uchiha clan stuff,
yeah.
and where Sasuke hypothetically is going to change his dad's mind. It's kind of like that in like the what if coming to life, to where the kid is just straight up changing. Ino's mind is more strong than Sarda and Sasuke, because Sasuke was just kind of like whatever, he didn't
Yeah.
really care. But Ino's very strongly like I don't want to do this kind of thing. So having Jean change your mind, it's kind of like that. Obviously, it's not really the same, but it's kind of like it.
I completely agree. Yeah, because I don't want Shikamaru to do it. I don't want Sarada Sumori to do it. I don't want Amino to do it. I don't want Ada to do it through reversing. I don't want Boruto to
Okay,
do it either.
Amino would
I
be
think
so
one of these
funny that
characters
I
would
could
be
live with
perfect.
it. Hidari be the funniest.
This makes no sense. I love it. Hidari wouldn't even be
Hidari.
meaning to do it. He'd just be so dumb. He accidentally does it.
Exactly. I'd be down. It's be so stupid. It's hilarious.
It's so bad. It's good. Yes. Okay. That being said, I'm gonna go completely against this just for my own personal satisfaction. As you know, as of recently, I hate Inojin. I just want Inojin to be the one person from Ino Shikacho who just is against Boruto because I want Inojin, especially after what they did with his haircut. I need Inojin to be like in Attack on Titan, spoilers, Flock. Make Inojin Flock, I will be happy with Inojin's character. Absolutely.
That's so funny.
Right though?
Low
You
key
can see
though.
it. You can see it.
Yeah, low key though, bro. Like he is the one to do it with, especially if you consider his like academy personality.
No, it's not
He's the
just
one to
his
do it.
personality in the academy. It's his personality now and his appearance
In his
now.
hair.
It just works. Absolutely. The sad thing about this is because the Boruto manga has no characters, we've listed basically every character. Like, Kabuto's not in the Boruto manga. Orochimaru's not gonna be there. Koji's not gonna turn against him unless you're gonna argue he already is. Like, who else is there in the story?
Maybe.
Are they gonna bring Ao back, Edo Tensei?
Paying for these people just to show up, let alone do anything else.
Nishi is hilarious as a possibility. I just want to entertain the idea. What do you think?
What, I was wondering whether he should be like Sloth.
Or the guy that just retreated from the Hidari battle. Do you think he's gonna be on board this?
I don't know if it's gonna matter at that point.
At least his survival instincts are at the top of the line. He'll be the last Shinobi to die. He's gonna be the one to prove Kawaki wrong.
Yeah. Yeah, he'll join Boruto's side just so he doesn't die.
Oh my god. Okay. Are there anyone else that you can think of? I guess technically Log, but I think he already is on Boruto's side, probably. But,
The elders.
no, screw the elders. I hope they stay against Boruto's side. Even after Omnipotence is undone, just to spite us. Just so we can hate them more.
I hope they die from it.
Yes.
I hope they Edo Tensei Danzo just so they can hate them together.
No, I got one for you. They kill them, bring them back with Edo Tensei, and Hidari just uses Amaterasu, so they are eternally burning. They don't have whatever push like Nagato does to get it off, Shinra Tensei.
Well, speaking of Hidari, actually,
burning.
He's another niche goofy one that could work. He could technically, as everyone theorizes, he's gonna switch sides. He could by that point.
As much as we meme Hidari, and as much as he is a Shinju, Otsutsuki, whatever, he is from Sasuke, and I feel like they do have that student-master bond relationship idea going there based on Chapter 4, even if they didn't execute that in Chapter 11 when it mattered. But I feel like they could play with something there, even though it's sort of a retcon.
Yeah, I mean, like,
all things considered.
Well, regardless, it's like we kind of expect he might be like the one, if not anyone else, to switch sides.
He's a left-hand
so
man.
He could by that point, in theory.
He's the thinker. Yeah.
It's not really about being on Boruto's side, but more so just humanity's side at that point. But
bro, I'm gonna be honest. Ryu's almost just taken that away from Hidari. As of right now. And I hate that.
Yeah, he might though, because he's another theory people have for someone who's just In fact, people are theorizing he's already there.
Oh my god.
Some people think he's just acting.
Yeah. I don't know. Well, that's all of our theories. So there you go.